one of the topics that was requested for this podcast from one of my friends was the idea of empathy and why perhaps these younger people online lack empathy so much. I don't want to go actually into too much detail about this topic, just because this is something that I'm writing a full paper on and want to do a full big YouTube essay on. So I don't want to give away all of my research, but I will give away some of it. Empathy is a very interesting thing because us as humans treat it like an emotion when it is not an emotion. We treat it as a metaphysical thing when it is not. It is a skill, a learned skill. Yes, you are feeling other people's emotions, but it is not an emotion we can curate on our own. It is something we have to teach ourselves to get in touch with. It's a social skill. You're supposed to develop it over time. You're supposed to be taught it when your parents treat you a certain way, or you see people treat each other a certain way. You start to learn the behavior of empathy. It's the foundation of community and it's the foundation of connection. And you learn it through community and connection. But because empathy is a skill, what happens when you don't learn it? It's very hard to teach it to yourself because it is a skill that requires more than one person to be present and open. And so when you get to the point of having no empathy, it's very hard to regain it. So, what are ways that us as humans can expand our empathy? You have to kind of force it. If you get to the point where you do not have it, you have to start forcing yourself to learn it. And I am not talking about people who have biological reasons to not have the capacity for empathy. There are psychological disorders that prevent you from having empathy at all, and I do not want to demonize those people in the slightest when speaking about empathy. I am talking about the people that do genuinely have the neurological capacity for it, that either refuse it or did not learn it as children, and therefore have now become adults who lack empathy. My personal theory about the lack of empathy in young kids these days is irony culture. The idea that nothing is serious, the intense nihilism that these children feel towards everything, and that has been taught to them by their parents. By their parents, by their teachers, by their politicians. When your world is bleak, when you are growing up in a world with no future, when you are growing up and hearing scientists tell you every single day that the oceans are so hot that you will die in 30 years, it's very hard to not consistently be in survival mode forever. And survival mode for your average person is a very self-centered state. It is about preserving yourself, keeping yourself stable and alive. And to keep yourself stable and alive, sometimes you can't have room for other people. So when you grow up in a world that is teaching you that nothing matters because you'll be dead soon anyway, or nothing matters because it was never that deep, or nothing matters because you were just joking, you get in this cycle of not needing to ever feel other people's feelings or your own. And this is the big key part. You stop feeling your own emotions, which makes you stop feeling other people's emotions, which means you officially no longer have empathy as a skill. Nihilism contributes to a lack of emotional maturity and a lack of emotional connection within yourself. And if you can't figure out how you're feeling and behave appropriately, you'll never be able to figure out how another person is feeling and behave appropriately towards those feelings either. This is why things like a lack of empathy are actually very common in people who are severely depressed or severely suicidal, and it is because, genuinely, they have stopped connecting with their own emotions out of survival, and therefore have hit a wall with other people's emotions. And obviously, late-stage capitalism contributes to this, but that's a whole other thing. But those are my baseline thoughts on empathy. I'll be able to share more when I finish this big, giant, way too long video that's going to take me a million years. But to summarize, empathy is a skill. And if someone isn't taught it, they're not going to know how to do it. And if they aren't given the baseline emotional regulation skills to take care of themselves, they can't take care of other people. So it becomes a cycle of you not caring, so you don't care about them, which convinces you they don't care about you, which means you don't care about you, so you don't care about them, and on and on and on. It's very sad to see.